Let's face it, searching for a new role is rarely a joyful experience, hey? But when children, mortgages, and networks that haven't been invested in for years are added into the mix, it can be really tough. Most people don't like to talk about it, but Dom Salomoni is different. I was absolutely delighted when he agreed to share some of his valuable takeaways from his first time looking for a new role in 25 years. What I know for sure is that most of us will experience the midlife job hunt. So tune in to Dom's really helpful and practical recommendations. You may not need them now, but log them for another time in future when you might. Let's dive in. With 25 years experience in one industry, last year you find yourself searching for a new role for the first time. Can you tell me about that experience?
Yeah. So I found myself in this scenario, 25 years in recruitment, 12 months in Sydney going, oh my God, I've got 3 young children and 4 mortgages and I need a job and I've got no network. For the first time in my life, I was worried about my future job prospects, to be honest. I'd never considered my age ever until that point, and I was 48.
So this is an experience that the listener, who is likely to be a mid-career professional, may
Yeah.
not have experienced this, but it is exceedingly likely they will. So tell me some of the things that you did, that you invested time in, that you felt helped you deal with it and ultimately helped you find the next role.
So the things I did, so I'm not sure I actually did it logically in this order, but when I reflected on how I worked through it, this is what came through. I allowed myself 6 months of self-investment. I probably recognized I needed a break because we'd spent 2 years settling the family, and it was settling your whole family in a new country and everything, all the chores that goes with that. I went, okay, I'm going to have some time off. I want to learn something new, be more non-professional, because I'd spent 25 years doing what I do. I'm going to invest some time doing something different. I'm going to spend some time doing the things I actually want to do to
Okay.
create this Dom for work V2.0. So I worked out my runway, right, to find a new role, which was 6 months. Promised myself I wouldn't worry about not having a role for 6 months, because of course we all worry about not working and not having income. I've got a rainy day fund, so it wasn't about paying the bills tomorrow, but it was about allowing myself the space to think effectively, to breathe emotionally, and just to be
Yes.
more fun and nicer to be around with my kids. What I also did, which my wife told me to do, was I sought counsel from people who knew me personally and professionally and said, what do you think I'd be good at? And what's your view on what I should maybe do moving forward? And I also worked on mindfulness. I spent my life exercising, running, or riding my bike. So rather than running and riding my bike more because I had more time, it was
Yeah.
about what do I do to balance myself out? So how do I add more yang to my yin? Okay. And not just ride more and run more.
So what did you
Because
do?
I kind of went, okay, I've got 6 months. I will focus on one thing a month and I'll do one thing that's related to mindfulness. So I did yoga, meditation, spending time in the water, like I'm on a paddleboard or on a surfboard. I bought a fishing rod, but didn't really fish too much. And I read again. So it was about cultivating silence, to quote from Ryan Holiday. So
Okay.
silence in my life to just to go slower.
And what difference did that make?
There were 2 things. I really enjoyed learning something new and something different. It also meant that I was probably better prepared to go into the journey, to get on this job search journey, to get on the spaceship, and just more
Yeah.
balanced around looking for a role fundamentally.
Yeah.
I think
Brilliant.
the mindfulness bit helped me stay cool and calm if I'd had a, a bit of a tough day on the job search stuff.
Okay. So that makes me think. So you prepared yourself for something you knew that was going to be tough, but you prepared yourself mentally for the whole journey. So job hunting mid-career, like it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah,
With children, mortgages,
yeah,
and then a limited network.
yeah.
It feels like a roller coaster as you've described it. But how did you keep going when the going got tough?
So the mindfulness was really helpful. So I looked at the journey in the runway and said, how long have I been doing this? And if it was less than 6 months, I just went, okay, I don't need to worry. Okay, I promised myself I'm not going to worry until 6
Yes.
months in. I reminded myself to enjoy the time with my kids and myself
Yeah.
because it just doesn't happen very often. I looked for the small wins. So a good discussion, a nice thanks but no thanks, an interview
Yes.
request, but
Yeah.
also I would be proactive. If it was a tough day, I'd go, I'm going to try and take control and make some proactive approaches to people because I felt
Yeah.
like I was taking control. And then the mindfulness bit really helped.
Good. So if you could give one piece of advice to
Yeah.
someone who is about to enter a job search, who is in a job search, or who just knows that sometime in the future they're going to hit a midlife job search,
Yeah.
just give us one big piece of advice or multiple, but just give them one piece of advice.
I'm going to say create your North Star. Post laying the foundations, I created my North Star. Everyone knows what a North Star is, right? It's something to aim for. So I kind of went, what can I do? What do I want to do? What do I need from my life right now beyond money? What I need right now is different from what I needed 10 years ago because I'm at a different stage of my career. I needed a good brand. I needed good leadership. I needed flexible working. I wanted to go to the office every day. I wanted a place that focused on your well-being. And that was my North Star. And then I then assessed a company culture to work out if it was right for me, created a target list of companies to approach myself.
Yeah.
And then when conversations were happening, I then referenced those conversations and how they went against my North Star. And I
Yes.
went, yes, maybe, or no. So I had a North Star, a flag in the ground to go, I think this organization, this culture, this business, ultimately this role is right for me, or it isn't. And it gave me the confidence to say no to things or be
Brilliant.
comfortable in my decision
Yes.
when it was getting to the pointy end of the decision making. And that, I think that's the bit I found really important. And the other bit around that was I created an action plan, right? So I went, I've created my North Star, but what do I do with it? Okay. It's all
Exactly. Yes.
a plan, how you're going to execute. So I went, okay, I'm going to network every day. So I had a coffee every day with either one of my friends or someone in my professional network. I explained what I was doing, why I was
Yes.
doing it. Are they hiring for their team? Is their company hiring? Or is there anyone they can connect me to? And I then rolled the dice onto the next conversation. I created this thing called like the 50-25-25 rule. So 50% of my job search is my network or my network's network. 25% of my job search is talking to people like me. Okay.
Yes.
25% of my job search is LinkedIn and losing your soul, making direct applications and getting nothing back.
Soul sucking cold job applications. Love it. And that worked in the end for you.
That worked for me. The other bit that I did too that I think is really important is I looked for a job maximum 2 hours a day. That was it. Okay. And I created a structure around my day that went as simple as get up, get the kids to school, exercise, look for a job and work on our renovator's delight of a house. So when I was asked how my day was, I would reflect and instead of going, oh, I didn't get an interview or the meeting didn't go well, or I've been looking at job boards for 8 hours a day. I went, job search piece wasn't great, but I had a really good chat with Alex on the way to school. I did a 10K in a time that I wanted to do it in, or I've worked on the garden. So I went, these 3 things that are in my control,
Yes.
big ticks. The one thing out of my control wasn't so good. And then at the end of the day, I just assessed it and went, how was my day?
Super, super valuable. If you enjoyed this, you might also enjoy my life satisfaction assessment. It's a 30-minute program where I guide you through a deep dive into 10 areas of your life to assess what's bringing you joy and what's bringing you down. I call it Derailed. It's a fabulous place to begin a joy at work redesign.